Let me just let me just fly over here to see if I can find something new. And oh crap. Well, there's no new elytra in my inventory. No ender pearls. Even if I had a totem of undying, I'd still die. I guess that's it. Okay. I think I should explain what I've done here. So, all this is just a double reload detector linked up to an ender pearl stasis chamber, exploiting the fact that ender pearls load chunks. So, all I have to do in order to set it off is I'm just going to go in here, reload the game twice. In single player, I can do this and I can wait as long as I want. Leave the world and it'll work. However, in multiplayers, with multiplayer or server, on a server, you need to be very quick about it. And I have made a different version for servers, but you kind of have to just do it very quickly. Because otherwise, the game will keep running even if you pause. But that's not the case with single player. Okay, so if you want to build either of these, either the single player version in your single player world or the multiplayer version in a server, the download links for the schematics are in the description. However, the schematics do include a tiny bit of decoration on the top, which is not entirely necessary. It was just to make it look cleaner. You can do whatever decoration you want. Just make sure you don't obstruct that little redstone dust that goes up to the trapdoor. I'll show you when I do the block by block tutorial. But for the single player version, you're going to need these resources, absolutely, not counting any of the decorative stuff. And you might want some kelp for the bubble elevator. And obviously not in here, but you're going to need an ender pearl, and the boots must have Frostwalker. 1 or 2 is fine, doesn't matter which version of Frostwalker. And for the multiplayer version, you're going to need these resources. Okay, so for the block by block tutorial, I'm going to be using Lightmatica to assist me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a generic version, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up for both single player and servers, because the different versions are going to have different pulse lengths for the pulse extenders. And I'll show you those separately. However, to start off, you need some solid blocks here. It doesn't have to be white concrete. It can be any solid block. It just has to be a solid block. And the walls can be any type of wall. You can't use a fence. It has to be a wall for this one. The other one, you can use fences or glass panes. The other wall, because there's 2 walls. But for this one, it actually has to be a wall because of the way walls work. And this trapdoor can be in any state you want. And then these stairs are going to have to be waterlogged. So, that's why. I'm using Tweakeroo to help me out here. But these stairs are used to essentially form water sources, because they get taken away when the reload detector gets set off. Because the way the reload detector works is it uses the Frostwalker mechanic with the armor stand, and when you reload the game, the Frostwalker will reset itself, so it will refrost this water. And this glazed terracotta here, you can use moss blocks, obsidian, anything that just doesn't stick to slime or honey will work perfectly fine. Just use a solid block. And this white stained glass can be any sort of glass, or it can be like glowstone or something, just something non-solid, because otherwise you're going to hard power this piston. And then this wall here can be a glass pane or something like that. And then you're going to want to waterlog all of these stairs. Is this stair not waterlogged? Huh. Oh, that's probably why. Okay. Then, let me go up a layer. You're going to want a target block here. However, this target block, if you really don't want to use a target block, you can place a redstone dust here. However, doing so, for the single player version, you're going to want to place a solid block up here to just block that off from what will become the pulse extender over here for the single player version. And then probably put like a slab up here to spawn proof. But in the schematic and what I'm doing here, I'm going to put this target block here, solid block here. This honey block can be a slime block if that's what you have access to. However, just be aware. Let me just grab some stone. If you're like building this underground or anything or next to something, just make sure that the blocks here and here relative to the contraption are non-sticky blocks, such as like glazed terracotta, or just there's nothing there at all. Otherwise, the reload detection will not work properly because this piston can't extend. And then you want note block here, observer here, here, and then these slabs here, and then you're going to want to go up and around like this with redstone dust. You're going to want a sticky piston here, and then you're going to want redstone over here. You're actually going to want this redstone to go up here, and then you're going to want a solid block there to prevent the dust from going up here. And this is where it also slab here. This is also where it gets a little bit tricky because in the schematic you cannot see that there's supposed to be a button here. However, that is what's used to redirect the redstone. And now I can place the armor stand here. However, I want to be careful about placing these frostwalker boots. Actually, it does kind of work. But essentially, when you do that, it will cause this to get set off, but that's not a big deal. However, if for some reason, let me just demonstrate here, this happens, just power it, unpower it. Although probably reloading the world would fix it. And then you're going to want to place slabs here and here. A lot of these slabs are just in case like an enderman decides to teleport over here. It can't like place a block to prevent redstone. Although this might be a little difficult. That's the best way. You're going to want a piston here. This is just to allow toggleability, so it's not necessarily needed. But I want to allow as much freedom with this thing as possible. And then that's pretty much what you need here. Also, in both versions, this goes like this. Let me just make sure I did everything on this layer. So then next, you're going to want a note block here, slab here, block here. You're going to want a soul sand here for the bubble column, and you're going to want a redstone block here this is just for the toggle system, which powers this piston, which essentially prevents this from actually going off when you don't want it to. And then you're going to want to build up this bubble column here. And I believe way this is going to work. Yeah, just as I thought it would be. You're going to want a barrel here. And this barrel, you don't have to have this barrel here. This barrel is just a quick and easy way to store the ender pearls. However, then the best way to do this is actually with some kelp. Is you're going to want to place the water here. You can also just place the water individually, but the easiest way to do this in general is just some kelp. And that'll create a bubble column. And then you're going to want a trapdoor like this. The reason you want it like this, partially, is so that you will end up in water. So if you're like in lava and you're burning to death, the water will immediately extinguish you. It won't save you from everything, but that could help. Then here, this just extends a piston push. So you're going to want a repeater here, slab here, and then around here, you want this. And now I'm going to not really go layer by layer here, but for this part, you're going to want to create a pulse extender like this here. And the reason for that is just so that this doesn't actually go back around, because this can't go down this way. And then for the toggle system, you're just going to want a sticky piston here. And then redstone dust here. Although, because it's kind of annoying, you're going to want to do like this. And this allows you to toggle it. And then just prevent Enderman from causing problems. You want that slab there, because this is pretty much going to be perpetually loaded if you're using it. Then you're going to want a redstone torch here. Then a piston here with a solid block here. And then redstone dust here, here. Slabs here, here, and here. And then redstone here. The thing I was talking about with the decoration is you don't want to, if you're like building like a floor plan over here, don't do this. Just be careful about that, otherwise you're gonna have a problem. So just, my suggestion is you can use some carpeting and then have like a slab here like this, and then you can carpet over all this to hide that redstone there. But now for this part, and this part isn't entirely necessary, neither is this. However, I would definitely suggest doing this so you can toggle it. This part is purely just to tell you what toggle state the farm is in. Well, not farm. Why did I say farm? What toggle state the detector is in. It's not a farm. So just a little slab tower here. Block here. Torch here. Block here. And you're going to want a lamp here. And the lamp is not entirely necessary. Oh, and you're going to want this there. Forgot to put that there. And that is pretty much it generically. However, now I'm going to show you what to do for setting up the pulse extenders for each version of the contraption. Okay, so for the single player version, all you're going to need to do is do this, this, and this. Take a comparator, do this, and do that. This is also why when I said put redstone here, do this. That just makes sure it actually powers the piston. And then you're just going to want to slab over this, this, and this when you do that. and this, and this. Okay, so for the multiplayer version of this, what you're going to want to do with the pulse extender is place a glazed terracotta there. You're going to want a note block above this piston. That's because this redstone is going to be powered, updating this piston with quasi-connectivity. And then you're going to want a solid block here, solid block here, solid block here, slab on top, and then you're going to want a slab over here, comparator here, redstone dust here, and then you're going to want a slab here in order to just prevent Enderman from being annoying. And that is basically it for this version of the contraption. That is it for this video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope this can be very helpful, especially in hardcore worlds or multiplayer servers if there's either PvP or if you just want to avoid dying. It won't save you from every type of death, but it should be able to save you from most scenarios. It would be especially useful again for like what I demonstrated, which was like if your elytra breaks, you're over the void, you got nothing to do, nothing you can do, you're hosed. This will basically save you in that scenario. And funnily enough, even if like you're in the end and you haven't even killed the Ender Dragon and like you can't get out of the end and you need to get out of the end, you can actually use this to get out of the end. Or you can even use it to like just immediately get to your base if you're far away and you're too lazy to travel back to your base. So I hope this is useful. Please leave a comment if you have any issues or if anything's going on with it that is unexpected. One other note is this contraption only works in the Java edition of the game. The server version would only work in 1.21.2 plus, because that's when Ender Pearls load chunks, or when that was added. And the single player version, to build it anywhere in the world, you need to be in 1.21.2 plus. However, if you want to use the single player version in an earlier version, you can do so in every version above 1.16.2. Assuming the redstone still works, I have not tested that, but given how simple it is, I would assume it still works in those versions. But again, just test it, just double check. If it doesn't, leave a comment and I will give you a fix for it. But the reason for that is just because that was the version in which the usage of bubble columns as Ender Pearl stasis chambers actually became a thing. And if you're going to use it in those earlier versions, beyond 1.16.2, just be sure to put it in the entity processing region of the spawn chunks. That's it for today. I'll see you next time.